Alright, so how many of you guys use a computer today? Or their cell phones? Those are computers as well, 100%. So the problem is a lot of people use this technology every single day of their life, but they don't know how it functions or the basic parts. So today I'm going to be explaining the parts of the computer and their functions. And it's going to be really basic. Don't want to dive too deep into it. A lot of people study this for years to get their master's degree and stuff like that. So this is going to be super basic. So there's two processing units of the computer. There's two types of memory that the computer stores data, and there's a few other parts that hold everything together. So we're going to start with the processing unit. So the first thing is the CPU, or the central processing unit. It's the brain of the computer. My source kind of summarized it as the function is to select instructions, process them, perform arithmetic and logical comparisons, and store results operations. So that's a lot of words, but basically the CPU is going to perform calculations endlessly, really fast, lots of calculations. This is what it's going to look like. This is an Intel i7. This is what it's going to look like from the front. On the back, you're going to see there's going to have a lot of pins. This is how it's going to connect to the circuit board, spoiler, the motherboard. So that's what it looks like in the back. Where can we locate the computer? So basically the motherboard here, like this is the big board, it's going to be underneath a fan or a heatsink, pretty much 90% of the time. So it's going to be underneath here. This is used to cool it. It takes heat from it through two pipes and it kind of disperses it through the metal, and the fan's going to blow that heat away. The second processing unit is going to be the graphics processing unit, GPU. So it's a specialized CPU that is designed specifically to handle video processing. So you're going to need it for 3D applications, video rendering, stuff like that. You don't necessarily need a GPU in every single computer. Most cases, the processor from before can handle this, but it's going to help take the load off the CPU, doing things like playing video games or video rendering, things like that. So this is the graphics card. So you're going to have the processors on the graphics card. This is what the basic one will look like. This is going to handle everyday stuff. If you're doing something that's more intense, you're going to need a better one that, like this. It's going to have more power. It's going to have its own cooling system. And it's going to be better overall. Like I said, there's two ways that a computer stores memory. The first is RAM, or random access memory. It's used to store data quickly, used to get it quickly. The best way to describe RAM is it's kind of like what you know. So if I asked you how to say hello in a language, you would instantly know that it came to you really fast. That's how a computer uses RAM. So it's going to store it. It's limited to how much RAM you have, so it's not endless like your brain. But yeah, you can get it really quick. This is what it looks like. Normally you can have one stick, you can have two sticks. Most cases you're going to see two sticks. Usually comes in 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 per stick. Where it can be found, it's going to be right here. So you see this is one stick, this is the second. You can have usually 4 slots. You can have 2 pairs, 2, or you can just have one. Now, second form of storage is the hard drive. Best way to store a hard drive is like having a book on this desk here that has a lot of information. The only way to access it, if I came over, opened it, and read it, it's a slow process, but I will in the end get the knowledge. That's kind of how the hard drive works. So it comes slowly. It's not permanent, or it is permanent, and it's usually large amounts. So that's why you can have that. It's where everything is stored: videos, files, pictures, everything that you store can be stored there. Whereas the RAM, once you're done using it, is taken off RAM, put on the hard drive. Here's a little example. Most of you have probably seen hard drives. This is it with the case on. Where hard drives are stored, usually some kind of hard drive bay. Usually located here. See, there's one here. There's an SSD here. There's one here. So the motherboard is basically a circuit board that's going to connect everything together. It's going to have ports on the back so you can connect to your monitors, USB, Ethernet, stuff like that. So you can see that right here. This is the board I talked about at the beginning. So it's going to connect everything: the CPU, the RAM. We have the graphics card here, hard drive. It's going to connect all this stuff together. The ports are going to be in the back. And then we're just going to talk about some extra things. So basically the power supply here, this is going to convert your home power into usable power for the computer. And there's going to be wires that's going to connect to every single part. So There's the main one connected here to the motherboard, it's going to power the motherboard function, into the graphics card, into the hard drives, and into the optical drive at the top. So once you understand all these components, it's pretty easy to figure them out. You just need to know the CPU there, motherboard, graphics card, hard drives, and power supply. It's really simple. I know at first it's pretty overwhelming, but once you know these parts, not too bad. So I hope now you have a better understanding of the basic parts of the computer and their function.
All right, I'm not real enthusiastic about the audience survey, but under the circumstances on the topic, it worked pretty well. It seems like the notion that people would be unfamiliar with this could maybe be illustrated another way, but your topic is clearly identifiable. You've got a very clear, simple thesis for the presentation, so I think that's a pretty good start. There's a little bit of a preview. The content on the material, I like the definitions, I like your descriptions for the most part. Sometimes it seems like there ought to be a little bit more sets of examples on each of the illustrations. Like you did a couple comparisons early on the CPU to a book, or the hard drive to the book, and you're talking about your instant memory, that sort of thing for the RAM. And I think you needed a few more things like that to talk about some of the other terms as well. And something that would make it a little bit more interesting as opposed to just a technical primer for people who are not technically well versed in this particular field. Something that would draw us in and make it kind of compelling and fun to listen to, as opposed to just being factually accurate. So I think you need to work a little bit on making it interesting from a content perspective. I thought delivery, you do a pretty good job. Look, you're stuck behind the table because you're trying to stay out of the way of the images up there. I don't know why you couldn't use the cursor step out front and do the same sort of thing. It just seemed like you limit yourself a little bit that way, and approaching the audience would be one of the things that would also create a little bit more engagement and immediacy in the presentation. And then if you didn't have all those examples, at least people would be a little bit more connected with you because of the presentation. I like the gestures. You have a lot of good indicators and natural gestures while you're speaking. Your facial expression, you usually looked like you were animated for the most part. There isn't a lot of emotional content here, but a couple of times I thought I saw a little recognition that you were talking about something that was interesting, or you were kind of connecting with the audience about an idea, and that I thought worked pretty well. The eye contact, when you look at us, you're doing great. Problem is you're not looking at us very often because you typically your information, you don't need notes, you've got your visuals, and you go to the visual every time you're looking for the next thing to talk about, and so you kind of depend on looking at that a lot. I like it when you do turn around and start talking to us, but sometimes it seems like it takes a long while to get to that particular point, and then it doesn't last very long because you're moving on to the next thing. So there may be, I know visually you need to explain these things and show them quite a bit, but you need to be able to connect with us instead of you connecting with the visual material and then connecting with us. It's just, I think there's an extra step in the process that's creating some interference for you. Your voice, it's easy to hear you. I think you could use a little bit more variety, although, like I said early on, I thought you were doing a very good job. When you get to some of the technical stuff, it's the same sort of thing that I was talking about before. You need to create a little bit more immediacy, and some vocal range would help do that sort of thing. But it wasn't bad. I'm just saying, what else could you do that would make it a little bit better? The pace, I thought it was fluid and easy to follow. You look like you're in command of the subject material for the most part, and except for the fact that you're behind the table and the demo station so much of the time, you generally look confident. Like I said, I thought the visuals were well prepared ahead of time, just a little too dependent on them when you were speaking to us. All right, thank you.